Today we'll be looking at the new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Godzilla Kaiju Ranger. This comes directly from the Playmates line. I know that Playmates also has the Godzilla toys. Mostly the ones that I've seen are from the latest movies where Kong has one arm missing and he has like a metal arm. And then I know that there is also a comic book run where Godzilla meets the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which I have not read, but I do know that this one is called Blue Anguirus, I guess that's how you say it. So I think the box looks amazing. Just the art on the sides of the box look really good. Look at that. Look at the spikes on that. And here it's the same picture, but it still looks really nice. And I love how it folds in, but I mean the art is still really good. And then look at this. This is crazy. Godzilla's wearing the Dragon Zord. This is insane. Godzilla versus the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I guess this is the second time. After combining forces with Godzilla and a host of other beloved kaiju, the teenagers with attitude have become the strongest heroes in any universe, the Kaiju Power Rangers. So we can see here, all the way to the left, it looks like Kimberly has combined with Mothra, and Trini looks like she combined with something that looks like a bat of some kind. And then we've got the Blue Ranger, or Blue Anguirus, the Blue Kaiju Ranger. Maybe not. I haven't read the comics for this, so I'm just guessing here. But if that's Billy, I don't know what he combined with. And then there is Tommy, maybe. And then here we have Jason and Zach. Zach's right here. Check them out. They look really cool. I wonder if there are figures for each of these. I'm guessing they only have figures for Jason, Tommy, and Billy. I don't think they have one for Zach. But that would look sick. Look at that. The black and gold looks really nice. They didn't need to add that, but it looks really good. I guess just like black and white didn't pop out enough to them, because you can see Billy just has these shoulder pads. Jason has wings. He's got freaking wings. That's insane. And then of course Godzilla, Tommy, the most iconic of each franchise. That shield looks sick. He already had the gold. And then Kimberly has wings. Mothra has wings. I guess you'd have to make sure it was there. And then I guess Trini, I guess the girls, they each do get a little bit of armor, because you can see Kimberly has some plate armor there, and then some on her ankles, gloves. Trini doesn't have the gloves, but she does have armor. Like the headpiece is very different from the rest. Armor, and yeah. And then Zach's got the gold. But look at that, Godzilla wearing the Dragon Zord. Anyways, let's open this up. We will use the God of War knife. It's not really God of War. My little sister bought this for me a long time ago. But hold up, where do we open this from? But I do really like God of War. And then the knife kind of looks like the Blades of Chaos, so I wanted to pick it up, and my sister bought it for me. So yep, we open this up. I gotta pull it. All right. You see me struggling. I had to pause this a couple times because I was struggling so bad. But it's out now. And I dropped it. I like using the back of the knife so that, well, I guess in this case I'm going to use the front of the knife. But I like using the back of the knife to pop it out without breaking it. If you have a better way of doing that, let me know. That's the only way that I know. Well, that's what I've done. Anyways, but Let's see. Oh, there's another little piece in the front. Slide it out. Where am I getting stuck? There we go. So put this back there. And then take a close look at the Kaiju Ranger. Let's go. Look at that. So we have the same weapon that Billy would have. I guess it's a staff. And then, or looks like a trident on both sides. But he can also split this up. So technically, it's not a spear because it's double-sided. And it's double-sided because there are two weapons, not just one. And then you can combine them, while Billy can combine them to form this weapon that looks like a trident spear, kinda. And then you can also split them up and then use them individually. Then we have the Blade Blaster in blaster form, and we have the Blade Blaster in sword form. Actually, give me 1 sec. I want to check something. So I also picked up the Playmates Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that released, well, the flip heads that released, and they have a Blade Blaster in that one too. And I wanted to compare this Blade Blaster from the flip head action ones to this Blade Blaster that comes in the Kaiju Rangers. I think they actually might be the same. They look exactly the same to me. Look at that. They save a lot of money by not having to make any other molds. All they have to do is take the old molds and then use the slightly darker bluish paint than the regular blue for the Kaiju Ranger. But it matches him really nicely. I will say that. So it matches the other weapons and his plate really, really nicely. So yeah, it's the exact same from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers flip heads. And we have the Blade Blaster in the blade form. Do I have one of these? I don't think so. So this might be new actually. So if you watch Power Rangers, you would know that the Blade Blaster can transform into the Blade Blaster in blaster mode. It can also have another mode where it looks just like this, minus like the little blade at the end. So this is how it looks like when it's holstered in their side belts. And then yeah, so you can close this and then the blade comes out, or you can just pull this out the bottom, and then you pull this back, and then I guess it turns into a blaster. It also has a power coin. Look at that. I guess they have different power coins for the Kaiju Rangers. I don't know. Come on, don't fight me. There we go. Okay, at least we know it's secure. It's safe and secure. So here we go. Check it out. We have the weapon for the Kaiju Ranger, which is the same thing that Billy would have. This is the darker blue, and it can't split. So Billy's can split, although I don't think that the flip heads actually come with their weapons. But Playmates did release two versions of this. One has just the Blade Blaster in red with the flip head actions. And then they released another line of the Rangers, well, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, where instead of having their Blade Blasters, I guess, they have the actual signature weapons for each Ranger, but those do not flip heads. Those just are posable They're supposed to be posable figures. I didn't pick those up because I already have the Lightning Collection figures, and I figured I didn't need those. But this is different. There is no Lightning Collection for the Kaiju Ranger. So let's pull them out. Let's look at that coin. Oh. There's a bunch of tape on it. Do we want to remove the coin? I don't think there's anything on the back of the coin. But it says Anguirus. Oh, hold up. That's the name of the kaiju, I'm guessing. So, you know, Godzilla, that's the name of the kaiju. And then, so the one that Billy merged with, I'm guessing he merged with, is Anguirus. And so instead of being like Triceratops, he is Anguirus. I'm almost certain I'm butchering that. If somebody knows how to say it in the comments, let me know. But yeah, so instead of having Triceratops, I'm guessing he'll yell this out, and then he'll turn into a Kaiju Ranger instead of a Power Ranger. All right, now we got to remove these so that we can get the Ranger out. Look, he has a shell. Oh, he has a shell. So he has a shell and spikes everywhere. So he's got a lot of spikes. Spikes on his head, spikes there. Let's get him out. I'm having a little bit of trouble. Almost there. Finally got it out. Alright, so we'll put the power coin over here to the side. And then we can finally pull the Ranger out. So we're going to reach in there and grab his hand. Kind of like pull it up. There we go. Reach in there. Grab his other hand and pull it out. There we go. And then I think we can just grab the torso. Grab the torso. There we go. All right. Check it out. Let's see. Can you stand? I'm pretty sure you can stand. All right. Let's see. I guess the camera's a little too high. Let me adjust that real quick. All right. Here it is. The Kaiju Ranger. Well, very limited head movement. Moves up and down a little bit. Can move to the right. Can move to the left. Looks fine. It feels good. Not too easy to move. Not like I'm not in fear that I'm gonna break it or something. And then you can move the wrist, which is always great, you know. Just nice to have that additional little bit of function. And then look at that. We got knee joints. So, and they're really, really smooth. Holy crud. These are really, really nice. So, if you had Lightning Collection, which I think is the best line of Power Rangers toys that we've ever had, you can, you know, like, this isn't easy to move because you might end up moving the one that you don't want. And so if you're trying to pose your figures, it makes it a little hard when one knee is like impossible to move. Well, not one knee. One knee joint is impossible to move, and the other one is super flimsy. Because then it's always the wrong one that you would need for whatever pose you were trying to go for. And then do we have elbow joints? We got an elbow joint. So this one's a little tough. So they've made a gap here so that you can bend the elbow, it looks like. But the way that they do it, oh look. You can move the elbow back and forth. You can move the elbow, well, left to right, and you can move it back and forth. I'm moving the whole figure when I'm doing that. And then you can move the arms. Nice. Wow, this is really, really good. This isn't a mainline Power Rangers toy, and this is really, really good. Now, are the other ones as good as this? Like the MMPR ones that they released, are they as good as this? I don't remember seeing knee joints and elbow joints like this one on that figure. Look at this detail. Crikey, look at that. That looks sick. I love it. And then It kind of looks like a Triceratops. So you got the one horn here and the three there. Although Triceratops is not a real dinosaur from what I understand. Oh look, even he has it. No way. He's got one in the front and then a bunch in the back. And so all they had to do was make it one in the front and then 3 and 3. That way it looks like a Triceratops. Nice. And the power coin? The power coin is just scales. I'm not gonna. Because this looks nothing like this power coin. You see that? Not even in your wildest imagination does that look anything like that. But it looks good. It's fine. I don't know if that's how it looks like in the comics. I like the belt. The belt looks nice. Alright, let's give him his weapon. He doesn't have a holster for the blade blaster. But he can hold this staff. Let's go. It kind of reminds me of Aquaman. Just because he looks like an ocean blue. How do I pose him with this? Alright, let's compare him to some other figures real quick. So the Super 7 Red Ranger with the dragon shield, towers above the Kaiju Ranger. Don't get me wrong, I think you can't put these together. I mean, it's gonna look off. He looks like a little kid compared to him. But I think the MSRP on this when it came out was somewhere around like $45, and this is nowhere near that. And on top of that, this can pose so much better than this can, just because of the joints. So it's got these joints right here, and then we saw what it can do with the arm. It's really nice that you can't see the pins, so pinless up here and pins down here. You can open the legs up, and then the feet, we didn't check the feet. So the feet can't like pivot, they can't pivot, but they can go left and right. So there's that. This weapon feels like it's coming out of his hand, but the sword on the $45 figure also feels like it's coming out of his hand. And then this does have a really nice morpher though. That dragon shield looks sick. And it's an inch taller than him, maybe an inch and a half. And he has a holster for his blade blaster. And his blade blaster also has a lot more details. But again, $45 figure to like $10 figure. So, I don't know. He can stand. Mine's has gotten a little flimsy. But you're comparing this to this. There's a huge difference. Of course, this one's blue. But yeah, I mean, size comparison, he's bigger, but he's got more joints, and I love that. I really do, because it's reminiscent of the Lightning collection. Whereas I think these have really nice details, like the morpher and stuff. But then look at the elbow. These elbows are horrible to try to get into any pose. Also the knees, only one little joint, unlike these. So again, Kaiju Rangers got it beat. So it turns out that the power coin is also a base. So if this actually was not a base and just like a decorative addition to the Kaiju Ranger, then I would more than likely not even take it out of the box, and it would just stay there in the box, in the packaging. But this has two little pegs, and then you can attach the Kaiju Ranger from down here Put his feet through both of them. Bam. Look at that. I think that's a great addition because who doesn't like bases? It is a little bit simple, but again, it adds a little bit of flair to the actual figure itself. And if it was just like a power coin that some of the Power Rangers toys have come with, then I would more than likely probably just leave it in the box because then I wouldn't know where to put it. Of course, it'd be nice if you had multiple, and then you can figure out some way to actually make a display out of them. But I think using it as a base for the Kaiju Ranger is a million times better.